Welcome to the video tutorial slash really quick sew along. I don't know if I would consider it a full sew along for this variation of the Tonika. The Tonika is our newest pattern. It is a really basic bralette and panty. It's also a unisex bralette and panty that can be worn by both men and women, which I think is awesome. This variation is a mashup of the Tonika Bralette and the Roxie. So this portion of it is the Tonika, and then this portion of it is the Roxie. Panty, pretty much all it is totally the Tonika because the Roxie is only a bralette. It is not a panty. What I love most about the Tonika is it is a really fun and quick DIY. The pattern that we came out with before the Tonika was a Galena, which is definitely our hardest pattern to sew. So it's really nice to come out with a super hard pattern and then a super easy one. Roadmap for this video is that I'm going to go over, I want to show you the insides and all of that of the finished variation, then go into the pattern alterations, go over that, and then go into the quick sewing steps for them. It's not a full sew along, but my goal is that I set you up so that you can rock this sewing project, and it took us like an hour and a half to make this. So it is really easy as well, even though it's a little bit more of a complicated variation. So I want to show you, let me just put the bra out. So this is an overlay, but I want to show you, actually, yeah, okay. So this is a scalloped lace edging here. The front bralette cups are lined with stretch mesh. The overlay, just one layer of stretch mesh, black, but it's not lined with any sort of other fabric. The back also is just one layer of mesh. The bottom is a wide bottom band. The one that we used on the sample was 1 5/8 of an inch band, but a lot of the DIY kits came with 3/4, so it could vary from 3/4 to 1 5/8. To show you the inside, the innards, okay, so let's go over the pattern alterations. The first step is that we will start with the front and back Tonika bra pattern piece. You are going to mark up, it will depend on how high you want your bra to go, how low. I will tell you what I did, and you can use that for yours, or you can change it. But I marked 3 inches up from the side seam, and then I marked 1 1/4 inch down from the center front, and I drew a straight line, and that will become my front neckline where the scallop lace will be. Be sure that when you cut it out that you add 1/4 inch here, because we're going to add a seam there. The next alteration is you're going to use the Roxie Bralette front overlay. Now what I did is I created a little U-shaped or curved line, and this is going to be my guideline for creating the overlay. And this is a size small, and it is marked up about 1 1/2 inches from the bottom edge. And I curved it outwards, and then I curved it upwards. I really just eyeballed it and created a nice smooth shape. Then once I did that, I laid the Tonika pattern piece over it. Now the Roxie Bralette overlay is a little bit higher on the underarm, so I definitely want to lower that. And what I did is, you can't see it on here, but I can see the line underneath the pattern. So I traced it onto another piece. So I traced that lower curve on this piece, and then I want the neckline of my front overlay to match the neckline of the Tonika. So then I lowered the Roxie overlay, that's like 3/4 inch. Yeah, 3/4 inch. And then I create a scoop neckline so that it matches the shoulder seam of the Tonika. Since the Tonika front and back are the same, I didn't make any adjustments for the back. Then for the panty, super easy, is that I marked down 2 inches from the center front, did a line out about 1 3/4, and that's going to be my little lace paneling right there. Again, be sure to add 1/4 inch seam to this edge because we sew the two lace panels together, and then we put it over on top of the panty, and then we assemble it. So the first step in sewing is that you are going to sew the picot elastic along the top edge of the bra cups, I would say, yeah, or the front bralette. I did this before I sewed the center front seam. So at first you sew the picot elastic, and then you sew this seam. And then you will sew the fold over elastic along this edge of the overlay. Once you do those two steps, you're gonna place the overlay on top of the bralette, and you're gonna line it at the side seam. You're gonna pin it along the fold over elastic. And then you are going to sew a zigzag stitch along the fold over elastic. You can do over the zigzag stitches that are on the fold over elastic, a little bit to the side of it, however you want to do it. You just want to place it down so that when you wear it, it doesn't shift upwards. While you're doing that, also take your lace panel piece and put it on top of the center front panty, and then sew along the edges with a small zigzag stitch. Okay, so once you sew the overlay onto the bralette, it is proceeding with the directions as normal. So you would sew the front to the back at the side seam, at the shoulder seam, attach the fold over elastic along the underarm as well as the neckline, and then attach the bottom band. So I won't do those steps on camera since the pattern comes with those directions. And then for the panty, same thing. Once you complete the step of sewing on the lace panel, I need to trim that thread tail. Then you will proceed with the instructions and sew the front to the back. You'll sew the gusset seam. You'll attach the fold over elastic on the leg lines as well as the waistband.